and welcome to the Heel Turn Podcast for the week of September 23rd, 2013. I am your host, Big Al. With me, as almost always, is
Nick, the Shopmaster McGee.
And our resident birthday girl,
Can I say that?
Maybe
I
not.
did say his name.
Alright, go ahead.
Sensational SoCy, yeah.
Birthday girl, woo! Raise the roof, woo woo, woo woo.
I'm
woo,
old,
woo.
so.
90s called, they want that expression back.
I don't care. Whoop-la!
Whoop, there it is.
Give us the rundown.
Alright, today we're going to talk about ROH's Death Before Dishonor 11. Also, we're going to talk briefly about some news in TNA, as well as touch on what is going on this past week in WWE. To start things off, let's talk with Nick.
Alright, ROH this past weekend had Death Before Dishonor 11, Big Al. We crowned a new ROH World Heavyweight Champion, Adam Cole. In the Heel Turn Podcast, want to say congratulations to Adam Cole for winning the ROH World Heavyweight Championship, defeating the unbreakable Michael Elgin in a classic match that lasts for at least a half hour, Big Al.
You know what? I regret I had to work that night because I wanted to see that match.
It was an awesome match. There were issues with the Internet Wrestling pay-per-view. ROH teamed up with GFL on this new live streaming technology. It was great during the first half of the broadcast, but man, when it got to the main event, it was kind of hard to see what was going on in the match because the feed was going in and out, which kind of ticked some people off. But ROH did apologize for it, and Death Before Dishonor 11 will be available on replay in about a couple of weeks. But I heavily suggest people order that event. There were some great matches, classic matches. The Forever Hooligans retained the IWGP Junior Weight Tag Team titles over the American Wolves.
Now, what happened with our 8-man tag with our good friend?
Our good friend Mike Bennett, the Michael Bennett, along with Maria Kanellis, with our soon-to-be good friend Matt Taven, the ROH World Television Champion, along with Truth Martini, hoopla! They lost to your guys, the CC Wrestling Company, and Tavarius Thomas and ACH. They lost to them last Friday night.
Again, I wish I would have been able to watch that, but I had to work.
Also, Big Al, the very next night they had ROH TV taping in Philadelphia at the National Guard Armory, and of course ROH had a partnership with the No Hate campaign. And according to reports, it was a successful campaign. About 300 people showed up for the event. And I know you and Sensational SoCy has a very special connection to the No Hate campaign. Clear to tell our fans about that one more time?
Sure. Last year, last summer, we went and had our photos taken at the Chicago No Hate photo shoot with our friends at a company which I will not name, but they are a very big company, and we had friends there, and they went and...
A very big progressive company.
Yes.
Awesome.
A place you should get your appliances, but that's all we'll say.
Awesome, guys. You know our good our good friend of the show, Maria Kanellis, was promoting the event along with her boyfriend Michael Bennett, and according to reports, the event was very successful. They laid down a lot of groundwork for the next upcoming ROH event coming up October 26th in Chicago Ridge called Glory by Honor 12. Big Al.
Okay. You don't have to put so much emphasis on things.
Exactly. I just want to make sure you were listening.
What?
We will talk about ROH Glory by 12 in the upcoming weeks. And we do, ladies and gentlemen, have a ROH preview show previewing Glory by Honor next month in October, late October. Big Al?
Okay, we're going to briefly touch on what's been going on recently in the Fed.
Big Al, did you sit down and watch SmackDown and Raw this week?
I caught the beginning of Raw last week.
SoCy, did Big Al watch Raw and SmackDown this week?
He did not watch SmackDown at all. And he watched as much of Raw as when you left after our recording.
So just 10 minutes of Raw last week?
I got tired and sleepy. I went to bed.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's kind of sad that the host of the Heel Turn podcast don't even watch the wrestling product unless his wife is watching it for him.
Yeah. He did watch a lot of GTA 5.
Yeah.
A lot, like hours, like 6 hours worth.
The Heel Turn podcast would like to completely back the whole GTA 5. Awesome game. You should highly recommend it.
I hope they send us a check for actually...
yeah, they made like $1 billion this week,
yeah,
so yeah.
So I hope they send us a check while you gave them a free plug. But anyway, talk about Raw last Monday. And my version of Book It basically came true.
Yeah,
I would like to cite that Raw happened 10 minutes after we recorded that show. So, people saying that we watched Raw and then recorded,
no,
were completely wrong.
No one really has said that.
No one's probably going to say that.
Nobody, they might be thinking it.
Yeah, you just plant that seed in their head. Thanks a lot. But anyway.
Conspiracy theory now.
Exactly.
Hey,
but I think
anything for heat.
I think Vince McMahon was listening to my Book It. Daniel Bryan got stripped of the WWE Championship. Triple H doing his version of the Vince McMahon walk.
Yes.
Power walk to the ring. And basically said, Daniel, wait a minute. This championship victory is tainted. You know and I know, everyone's talking about it, that there was a fast count.
Right.
I want to bring out Scar Armstrong right now.
Now, I will say this. SoCy did not see the fast count. I had to mention it to her.
I saw the fast count. It was so plain. Yeah, play with that pen, you ADHD kid.
But to be honest, I wasn't paying attention to the match because it had gone a little long for me.
That was supposed to long. Daniel Bryan's a great worker.
And I had started reading fan fiction.
Oh my goodness.
So
it was a great match he had. Well, not a great match. It was a very good match he had with Randy Orton. Because you know Orton's a stiff in the ring.
Yeah.
But anyway, Triple H did his power walk shows. And you predicted while we were watching him, like, I bet Triple H could do a split screen with Scar Armstrong doing a normal count and the fast count. And Lord behold, he did a split screen.
He did a split screen.
Oh my goodness. And did you see Scar Armstrong lean over to Daniel Bryan and say, hey, you know what? Instead of just recapping what actually happened, I'm pretty sure enough people have seen it already. This is a great storyline. It gave Triple H and Randy Orton so much heat after that 10 minutes. It's ridiculous. Randy Orton can't even buy that much heat. But to me, the heat mainly went on Triple H.
Now, here's my question, though.
He's reaching sun levels.
The fact that he didn't put the belt back on Orton, how do you feel about that? To me, I
think it's completely justified.
It's completely justified because regardless of the fast count or not, you got beat in the middle of the ring clean.
But
you technically lost clean.
But if he had done a regular count, who's to say?
Orton would have been down.
We don't know that.
You're telling me Orton would kick out of the same knee drop that took out John Cena?
And it's Super Cena.
We're talking about Super John Cena here.
He ate a mushroom.
You think
he was Super Mario
power.
He was Super Mario Brothers on us. So, but anyway.
Yeah, but you can't say that.
Orton was done.
You can't. So if you're gonna go with here's the thing though. If you're gonna say, well, Orton would have been done anyway, what's the point of stripping the title? If you're saying no matter what, Orton would have been. But
this is their way of saying, well, it was a fast count. Blah, blah, blah. Who knows? Maybe Scar Armstrong got paid off by Triple H. Maybe Triple H whispered in his earpiece and said, make it a fast count.
There was that one ref that came down there to check on him. And he was with them an awful long time.
Hey, Scar Armstrong was laying on the outside for a long time. They amazingly get back in the ring. Referees don't just get back in the ring.
He's hard body ref though, so
that's true. Hashtag hard body ref. That's very true. But
so,
but Orton was done. He was beat anyway. I agree. It was justified that Triple H did not get him the belt. And did you see how Stephanie McMahon made him feel like a freaking child backstage?
Yeah, Stephanie was on fire on Monday.
Oh my God, the thing she did to Dusty.
Hold up, we're jumping ahead of ourselves. Hold up.
I just have to
wait. Shut up.
No,
we'll get to that in a minute.
We'll get to that in a minute because she was on fire last night. She has a birthday with me. She's a birthday girl too, and but yeah, she
basically put Orton.
But I guess my thing was if they're not giving the belt back to Orton and they're not putting it on Daniel Bryan, where does that leave Orton in their whole in the corporation. He's kind of
well. The thing is, which we all know this by now, after SmackDown, Orton and Bryan's gonna go at it for the vacated WWE Championship, and rumor has it it's gonna be a 60-minute Iron Man match.
Just like what you predicted.
Just like what I predicted.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like what I predicted on my last booking. So we have to ask ourselves: Will we actually see a new WWE champion at Battleground? Or will this thing get dragged out and it goes to a time limit draw?
Oh, time limit draw. Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't
That's what
think
it's
of that.
going to be, because that's old school way, and old school is...
And you're telling me this feud's going to end at Hell in a Cell of all places?
Nope. It's going to go even further.
You going to go to Survivor Series?
Further.
No, it's got to stop at Survivor Series.
I don't think it will. I think...
You cannot drag this thing out to no Royal Rumble.
No, it's not.
Ain't no way, God's green earth, this thing could drag out the Royal Rumble.
They could have if they did it a little smarter, a little slower.
If you add another player,
that's what I'm saying. If they bring in another player, yes, they can drag it out to Royal Rumble then.
you know the idea I got. It'd be a time limit draw at Battleground. They go out in Hell in a Cell. At Hell in a Cell, Daniel Bryan beats him, become WWE champion. Orton doesn't have what it takes to win the titles. Do they look at somebody else to be the new face of the company? And guess who they can bring back out if his dates haven't ran out?
Brock
Lesnar. Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan for WWE Championship and Survivor Series.
That is so much like a Hogan-Andre thing. Because
I think you're a little bit over the top on that one.
Well, I don't know though. Think about it, you're just shrinking them because
you shrink them, and also Hogan was the underdog in that match.
Well, look at it like this from Brock Lesnar's point of view. Getting a title shot, he beat Triple H. He kicked the crap out of CM Punk at SummerSlam. I don't care what anybody says. He kicked the crap out of Punk. Punk gave a good effort.
Beat Cena.
Yeah, he never beat Cena.
Did not beat
he
Cena.
kicked the crap out of Cena, but he did not beat Cena.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You know,
I always think that he won that match
because Cena got the crap
kicked out of him.
So that's what he did.
So
Kinda like how
no, he kicked the crap out of the Miz. He destroyed 3MB.
Who else?
Who hasn't?
He destroyed the New Age Outlaws.
Who hasn't?
He broke Triple H's arm. So Triple H say, "I'm doing what's best for business."
Yeah.
By giving Brock Lesnar a title shot and him becoming the face of the WWE and winning the WWE Championship.
He was the face at one point.
Although it's a good idea, that would probably make me stop watching wrestling. I hate Brock Lesnar.
I would love to see Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar. Or we could have Lesnar come back and just kick the crap out of Randy Orton, which I would love to see.
I would be down
Destroy
for
them
that.
both. Destroy them both. Even better.
Not no triple. I'm tired of triple.
No, not a triple threat. Not a triple threat.
You know it's going to end up being a triple threat match. You keep Orton in the frame. You know they're going to do it. We're talking about WWE booking here.
No, what they do is he comes out, destroys them both. Orton's out on injury for the next 30 days.
Well, he's not married anymore, so he might not take
there's no vacation time for him.
He might not take
He can't afford to take any time off right now. He's red hot, technically.
Yeah. He's back. He's back to where he belongs.
Exactly. Even though he's not the top heel, Triple H is more the heel, technically in this feud. So I don't know. But did you see the faces come down and save Daniel Bryan towards the end of his match?
The Mid-Card Mafia.
The Mid-Card Mafia.
Yes.
RVD, Kofi, the primetime players. Hey,
all of us that can't get fired.
Zack
We're
Ryder.
too hot, except Jack Ryder.
Zack
Ryder. I'm sorry.
Zack Ryder.
Hey, Jack Ryder was a DC character. That's
Anyway, shut up. Zack Ryder.
Mr. Future Endeavor.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's hanging on to his job somehow. I don't know.
He has photos of somebody doing
He
something.
must do. Doing something that say. And another thing, as we move on from this storyline, what's up with Van Dam? Did anyone see SmackDown last Friday?
I did watch it.
Triple H called himself
giving
punishing the locker room. Hold up, before we get that, punishing the locker room, punishing the guys who came out and saved Daniel Bryan. Have them all one-on-one, face all three members of the show.
No, remember, that was Vicky. That wasn't Triple H.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was Vicky. You're right. It was Vicky. She tried to give Daniel Bryan an opportunity to come clean, which he shouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's just Vicky Guerrero trying to be, I say, the anti-Brad Maddox on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Try to be more. I mean, it's not working.
No.
You know
they're trying to keep her a paycheck, and I'm just ready for her to be a grandma.
Really, with Triple H and the corporation, they really don't need GMs now because Brad Maddox is useless.
I like Brad though. I like seeing him on my TV.
I don't. He's so useless. What is the point of him being there? I mean, I'm asking the Heel Turn Podcast fans, please go on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Heel Turn Podcast, or our Twitter handle @Heel Turn Podcast, and explain to me why Brad Maddox should remain on WWE TV, because he's completely useless. He is. He's a waste of space. He really is. Vicky Guerrero is more valuable than Brad Maddox to me.
I just have issue with the fact that she bumped Roddy off of the #1 spot of top heels ever in the WWE history.
That was
Vicky?
That was in the recent WWE magazine.
Ugh.
Roddy's now #2.
Is it because the whole heat thing, the whole excuse me thing? You know,
Probably.
half of that's piped in.
Yeah.
You know, half of it's piped in. Especially on SmackDown, it's really piped in.
Oh yeah, that's one thing I want to talk about. The piped in booze for AJ was hilarious, because it's like on Raw she's getting cheered out of the building, and then on SmackDown she's getting booed, and they're like, no, she's a bad guy, and we're like, no, she tells the truth.
True.
We like her. It's ridiculous.
It is. It's so ridiculous.
And what was crazy about it though, on SmackDown, you see people visibly cheering her.
Exactly.
But clapping, cheering, arms up in the air, and it's just boos being piped in, like WCW style.
WCW Thunder style.
Ooh.
Yeah, I went there.
Ooh.
WCW Thunder style. Speaking of WCW, in the world of TNA, stop.
There we go. Speaking of WCW, TNA.
Hogan's contract's expiring October 1st.
Yes.
And we talked about this in a previous podcast. Hogan's not happy with TNA. He didn't like the way they handled the whole release of Brooke Hogan. He felt, according to sources close to Hogan, that TNA should have approached him regarding the situation. What you think, Sos?
They should have.
Why?
Just a respect thing. They brought her on for him.
To do nothing.
They brought her on
She was a waste of space. The president of the Knockout Division, she never wrestled.
It doesn't matter what her position was. The reason she was there was because of Terry, and they should have talked to Terry. I'm not saying they shouldn't have let her go. I'm saying they should have told him that we're
letting your daughter go. She can't work for crap.
Yeah, it's a respect thing.
Oh my goodness!
It's a respect thing.
You know, as a wrestling fan who's really deep in there, respect is very much a part of their world.
Listen, I understand about the whole respect thing, but I'm not going to respect you that much because you haven't given us no good ratings on TV. You haven't increased our buyer rate since we brought you on. We're paying you a ton of money to basically do nothing backstage. You can't physically compete in the ring. So why should we go the distance and tell you that, hey, we're going to can your daughter because, number one, we need to shave our finances, and number two, she was a waste of space on TV. She really was.
Yeah, but that's what we're saying is they should have told him that. We're not saying
they shouldn't have to. They shouldn't have to. Well, I take that back. Maybe they should have, since they sent Kurt Angle technically to rehab like 4 times during his entire stint in TNA. So maybe they should have. But at the end of the day, it's like, who cares? Who cares? Send her out the door. Terry, if you're listening, yes, I'm calling you by your real name. Terry, if you're listening, give Vince McMahon a phone call at midnight on October 1st and say, Vince, I'll take that Lifetime Legends contract and sit at home and get paid, and you call me when you need me.
Right, which probably won't beat much.
Right. No, give me the Bret Hart deal.
Because it seems to me that Hogan wants to be in.
No, Edge could do a lot more than Hogan. But Edge won't command so much attention.
It seems that Hogan wants to be somewhere where he can run the show, and he knows he can't run anything at the Fed.
Really, he tried to run TNA. It was a failed experiment. TNA is starting to realize that little by little.
They didn't watch WCW? Like, didn't we? We all knew this was going to fail.
Well, we had Hogan and Bischoff. They're both in TNA, and Bischoff probably sold him a bill of goods saying, you know what, I can make it work with Terry. I'm sorry, it failed with Terry. Eric Bischoff still thinking it's 1999.
Yeah.
With the way they're booking, the way they're producing it in TNA, he still thinks it's 1999, so that's not going to work. You know, they need to let Eric Bischoff go.
They do.
They really do, and Bischoff need to beg for a legis contract himself with the Fed and just stay at home and collect the check. Or kiss Vince and Triple H butt to a point that he could go into the Hall of Fame in some weird way.
That might happen someday.
You know, but it's not working with Bischoff. It's definitely not working with Terry. They both just need to go.
They do.
They really do. And TNA needs to go in a different direction. They need to look at more indie guys. They really do.
Yeah.
Go back what made them TNA. They went after all the top indie guys like AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Kazarian, Christopher Daniels. They went after Austin Aries. Austin Aries was in TNA a few years ago. Then he left, went back to ROH in New Japan, and now he's back in TNA. And don't get me wrong, Austin Aries became TNA World Heavyweight Champion. But after he lost the world title, he sort of like, and then mid-card / semi-main event type area, in which he should be the top dog in the company because he's proven he can carry that company.
Yeah, completely agreed. And what they should do is do what the Fed is doing now and just start reaping ROH guys up left and right.
And which TNA's not going to do that.
Yeah.
Because they shattered their relationship with ROH. They had a talent exchange with ROH at one point, but, you know, it just didn't work out.
And it seems like TNA was in a better position before Terry and Eric showed up.
To me, personally, they were in a better position before they signed Kurt Angle. They should just left Kurt Angle on the side of the road. Seriously, when Angle came in and Samoa Joe dropped the TNA World Title to Angle, it went downhill from there. Because Samoa Joe was the face of that company when he was TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Joe was unstoppable.
Still is.
He's
getting in the ring.
He's getting it back, but it doesn't have that spark that it once did several years ago.
That I'll agree with you on.
But could that be due to what the place he works for and where he's at, and
because
being so
when you look at him now and look at him right now, you could, number one, Joe gained weight. If he ever went to the Fed, if I was Triple H, I'd be like, Joe, I love you, but you need to drop at least 15 pounds. And guess what? We're gonna send you to developmental so you could drop some weight.
He'd probably be happy to do it though, because
he'll get paid. It'd be a big payday,
and most likely he could drop it in a couple months.
Exactly, and he will not stay in developmental that long. Give him 6 months, like they did with Daniel Bryan, and he'll be on the main roster.
I don't even think they should give him. He'd need 6 months. I think he'd probably be done.
I will say 6 months.
I'd say 3.
I will go with the Daniel Bryan model. Daniel Bryan requested to go to developmental for 6 months when he got signed.
Oh yeah, they wanted him right away.
Yeah, they wanted him right away. He was like, no. Send me down to developmental. Let me learn your style.
Right.
And look where he's at right now.
Yeah, that is true.
He's the people's champion.
Yeah. He's our modern day.
Hey. Copyright Rocky John.
Oh, whatever.
No, he doesn't have the copyright on that. Vince owns everything.
Exactly. He owns that baby. Oh, man. But
food, baby.
Oh. Quickly, let's move on to the Rhodes.
Oh
man.
Poor Dusty. Poor
Virgil.
Dislocated jaw. Is it me? Did Big Show cry when he punched him in the face?
He cries every week, though. It's like, the land of the crying giants.
Big Show cries every week.
He does cry every week.
That's how.
So, a friend of mine, as I was watching Nine Champions, predicted that when this is all over, Cody Rhodes will be the biggest face in the entire WWE when he makes his return.
I say that some little kid should follow Big Show around with a box of tissues.
Oh.
But I'm saying,
I
personally disagree with that. I do not see Cody Rhodes becoming a huge star out of this.
I don't.
I see him
rising above mid-card level, but not being at the absolute top.
I mean, if he comes back, what's the end game here? He's going to kick Randy's tail?
Oh, he should.
All right, someone just explained to me how he will become a big star. I just don't get it. I just don't. Someone explain it to me. When Randy Orton left?
He left white hot, and then...
Did he really left white hot? Because when he lost, I didn't hear the boos piped in. I really didn't. I didn't hear the cheers either when he came to the ring. Well, I really didn't hear anything. Everybody know Cody was going to freaking job to him anyway. Who gives a darn? Seriously.
Well, the fangirls online were sad about it. Yeah. I can report that.
I mean,
there were a lot of sad
You have
girls.
to admit, he's in the same class as Dolph Ziggler. He's a terrible face. He really is. He had his moments with Damian Sandow, which is okay. You know, even though Sandow's on his Money in the Bank losing streak.
I agree. I think Cody's better as a heel.
But I just don't see him becoming a huge star out of this. Now, it is what everybody predicting will happen if he comes back and kick the crap out of Randy, or maybe because I forgot what I was going to say there for a minute, because Big Al distract me with his ADHD. But anyway, is he going to cause Randy to not win the WWE Championship either at Battleground or Hell in the Cell?
That could be interesting.
Could he break into the cell and kick the crap out of Orton? Would that pull him over?
Yes.
I think that would put him over.
And we could have a Rose family versus corporations type thing, or Rose family versus the Shield at Survivor Series?
I don't think I want to see Dusty work.
No, Dusty wouldn't work.
Dusty
can't work.
He can't? He can't physically take a bump in the ring or do something?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
If Terry Funk can still take a bump, he'll be at hardcore. He'll be at the House of Hardcore 3.
Terry shouldn't be taking bumps, though. That's the difference.
But he's still going.
He shouldn't be. That's the difference.
He's like, oh, I'm okay.
Yeah, Terry Funk is still going, retiring for like the sissiest time at House of Hardcore 3 coming up in November.
What promotion is this? Oh, I haven't retired from there. I'm good.
Right, exactly. Moving on. Coming up, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have our exclusive interview. Oh, I'm sorry. We're not going to the interview portion yet.
We're not?
No, not quite yet. We're going to go ahead and do SoCy's Fan Fic Fail for this week. It's been a while since we had Fan Fic Fail.
It has. And let me get my little device out here. Because I didn't know I was doing a fanfic fail.
Yes, we told you during the pre-show fist fight that you're doing a fanfic fail.
No, I'm saying prior to, because I usually do like a week ahead of time, and I get permission from the authors. I did none of that this time.
Hopefully, pretty soon, SoCy can put our fanfic fails on our blog site, theheelturnpodcast.blogspot.com.
Yes, that is the plan. This week, I actually don't have anything bad because I've been reading a lot of really good fic. Thank you.
Fig or fic?
Fic.
Fig?
Fig.
Fig. Okay.
Yeah, Fig
Newtons.
Fig Newton.
Fig Newtons. What's up with the Fig Newtons?
So, right now I'm reading, actually it's a two-parter. It's by, her name's Jade Rose 1 on fan fiction. And the original story was done by the person Jade Rose and Waldron 82. The first story is called Saving Super Cena. It's really good. It gets weird later on, but in the story's gist is Randy and Sheamus are a couple. John Cena's their best friend. John Cena's working himself to death. They kidnap him, lock him in a room, and make him take a break.
Sounds hot.
They physically, and he's always trying to get away, so they literally have to tie him to the bed and lock him in the room to make him take a vacation. And then during that, it gets
steamy.
It gets steamy.
It's like watching an episode of Scandal on ABC.
I've been meaning to watch that show.
That's a great show,
I'm gonna start it. It's on Netflix.
I hope they send us a check.
That's a great show.
No, they're not going to send us a check. And that story's completed.
The same guy who was pumping Grand Theft Auto earlier?
Right. There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Grand Theft Auto 5, available now wherever video games are sold.
GameStop. Anyway,
GameStop better send me a check.
No, they won't.
Saving Super Scene is completed, but however, it does have a sequel, which I'm reading now, called Coming to Terms. It's by the same person, Jade Rose 1. It's the sequel.
Is this the same person who will be writing the Man of Steel sequel?
I hope so, because she's a really good writer. In the sequel, we find out Sheamus has weird superpowers, and he.
Oh, that's nice. Now we're turning to X-Men future days past.
It's really cool. He has
Days of Future Past.
Days of Futures Past. Thank you.
Yeah, and because of his intimate times with John Cena, he can stop that, Alan. He can telepathically.
I think about that.
He can telepathically communicate with John Cena. John Cena gets kidnapped. He gets robbed. He gets anally violated by some robbers.
Just like Brokeback Mountain mixed in with Man of Steel, mixed in with X-Men.
With a little bit of Sin City, just for good measure.
And a sprinkle of Scandal.
Yeah, and like Randy Orton gets drugged at a bar with The Miz, and they end up naked and all their stuff stolen by a bunch of girls. It's just
this reminds me of a girl with the dragon tattoo.
Like, it's drama filled, and you find out like Randy had been abused by Batista some years ago.
Hey, now we're in the movie Precious.
Yeah, it's all over the place, but it's really, really
Does he
good.
throw a TV down the stairs?
No, not yet. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you could see the look on Big Al's face right now.
Does he get hit with a frying pan?
People do get... Actually, the chapter I'm in right now, Luke from the Wyatt family just stabbed Sheamus, who already had a broken rib from being beat up.
This got to be the script for See No Evil 2.
Yeah, so, he's being rushed to the hospital.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Marine 5.
Yeah, I already talked about John being kidnapped. He got kidnapped by a dominatrix, but
Dominic Monaghan?
I wish that.
The Brooklyn Brawler?
No, he got locked up in some dude's basement, and the dude was going
it
to
the
turn him
Brooklyn Brawler's basement?
He was going to turn him into a sex slave, and yeah, he totally got kidnapped. It was awesome.
That sounds more like Rey Mysterio's.
The story's all over the place, but it's great, and it's just drama filled and awesome.
Where can our fans get this story from?
You can get it from fanfiction.net. Just search for Jade Rose and the number 1, and it's the first story is Saving Super Cena, and the sequel is Coming to Terms. So.
Wow.
Oh, and Nick, don't ever mention the movie Precious again.
Oh, Precious.
That movie has just
scarred
my brain so deeply.
I'm sorry, big guy. But anyway, moving right along, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give you our exclusive interview, part 2 of our conversation with indie superstar, head trainer of Victory Pro Wrestling School, and the guy who is trying to capture the Victory Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. I give you the one, the only, the Cuban Crippler, Ricky Reyes. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Heel Turn Podcast. Our guest this week is the one, the only, the sensational, the Cuban Crippler himself, Ricky Reyes. Ricky, welcome to the Heel Turn Podcast, my friend.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks a lot, man. Thank you for coming back with us. We're going to pick back up on our conversation that we had about a month ago. Ricky, how's it been going with you as of late?
Luckily, I could say very busy, and it's been pretty good, so far so good.
Hey, man, brother. Sound like you're tired. I know you had a big weekend.
Yeah, it was a long one this week.
Yeah, that I can understand. Ricky, just to start off with you, sir, can you discuss with us and give us some background on Victory Pro Wrestling?
Yeah, it's a company that's been around for about 7 years now. We just did our 7-year anniversary show. I think it was, we do it in March, it's our anniversary, and it's a good place. I mean, I did a couple of I had started working back for them again, and then they offered me a position to train the school,
right.
which I do now. So I've been there for a little over a couple of years now, doing the school and training and stuff. I don't book or anything like that, but with having first-hand experience on how well the guys progress and stuff, I give my input on, like what to do with certain guys and stuff like that. So it's been pretty good. I mean, houses of pretty strong, between 200 and 300 every event, and they usually run at least once a month. Sometimes they do 2 or 3 shows a month, but just depending on what. So.
All right, Big Al,
can you briefly discuss Victory Pro Wrestling's event Boiling Point?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Can you talk to us about Boiling Point?
Oh, Boiling Point, yeah. Well, Boiling Point was a really, really good show. We had I would say we had 3 serious main event matches that we had. Usually there's 1 or 2 really good matches that are going to be those good ROH style back and forth matches. And we had 3 of them that came out really good. I wrestled VSK for the heavyweight title. And basically what happened was things got out of control. The ref went down. I went for the win. The ref took forever to get there, so I kicked the ref in the head, knocked him out. VSK kicked me in the face, knocked me out. Another ref came in, and instead of counting to 3, he went to check on the other ref. So VSK kicked him in the head, knocked him out. The third ref came in and called the match. So gotta do it again.
Also, man, your rematch with VSK is in November, correct?
Yes, I think we had a 2 out of 3 Falls match, November 2nd in Deer Park, New York. So.
Awesome, man. I know on Twitter you told me that the video of your match with VSK will be up there about a week or 2, and we're definitely going to post that on our blog page, the heelturnpodcast.blogspot.com.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Yeah, they get the featured matchups every 2 to 3 weeks on the web page, on the YouTube page. So hopefully that'll be up, one of the first ones up.
Awesome. And I know you mentioned about the Victory Pro Wrestling school. How is Victory Pro Wrestling School different from the other wrestling schools out there in the United States?
Okay. Well, every school is different. What I try to do, because I've wrestled all over the world, but the first thing that I do when I go to another country or I go somewhere new or something is if I'm going to be there for an extended time, I want to go to a school. It doesn't matter where or what. I just like to train. That's kind of my thing is I just love training. So I'm learning new styles and new ideas and stuff like that. So every school has a different style of training. Some guys, you get to the school and everyone's standing around doing nothing, talking about how cool they're not, and then nothing ever gets accomplished. You know what I mean? And then you go to other schools and it's just we just do conditioning type, running, these long, drawn out type of spots or whatever, and it does nothing for you to advance you mentally or mentally at least, just physically, you're just doing spots for the sake of doing spots.
Right.
Unfortunately, younger guys take that and then they say, I'm going to do this type of movements in my matches, you know what I mean, and they don't really know why. Okay, so my biggest thing in the school is if you do a big move or you're going to do a big move is psychology. Why are you doing it? To get excited to do it, or get the fans excited to do it so they actually care about you doing it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And one of the things that I stress when I wrestle is, anything that you want to do or you do, really well, should be at the end or for the finish or a finisher per se. So it's meaningful. You know what I mean? So many guys go out there and they wrestle and they start off and they do all these wild and crazy things, but then, they're doing a match that's going to be another 15 more minutes, and
do you encourage young talents to do high spots during their training in wrestling school? Because it seems like that's the trend you see with a lot of smaller wrestlers. They tend to do a lot of high spots. Do you encourage that, and does that enhance the crowd more? Will a young performer do high spots?
Well, I don't encourage anything or discourage anything.
Okay.
I tell the guys, I'll teach you the safest way to execute and take moves. You know what I mean?
Right.
For the safest way possible. I let everybody develop themselves all that they want to do, because I don't want to say, hey, you're going to be a high spot monkey because you're small and you can jump high. So that's what you're going to do, even though this kid may say, hey, I want to learn to be a good wrestler, like a ground wrestler, like Dean Malenko or something. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to make somebody do something that they're not comfortable doing.
Right.
What I do is just what they want to do. I just give them a formula, basically. Like, I have a formula on how to create a match.
Right.
And, and basically, like everything, the build is to the finish, so you make it backwards, So it's like, okay, here's where we're going to end, and how are we going to get to the ending with the most emotion and making everything mean the most in the match, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, a lot of my guys, now, after being with me for a couple years, it's funny, like, we were just Sunday at practice, and one of my top students there, he was like, I want to be that wrestler that does absolutely nothing. He's like probably the most over heel that we have besides me and the company, and he took 2 bumps Saturday night and wrestled for 17 minutes.
Wow.
And he had heat from the set walked out of the curtain, and he does nothing, I mean, he does great stuff, like, he does like double stomps and kicks and stuff like that, but like, as a heel, like, he took like a comeback, but it was great because like, he never went off his feet really, but he was like all over the place like Sean Monk. He just wasn't like bumping a lot or taking like big head drops or anything like that, and he's a smaller guy.
Right.
But everything he did, it made so much sense because they didn't really do much, so when they did, it meant so much more.
Okay.
And I try to explain to guys, like, they go in there and say, hey, I like doing a shooting star press. It's like, okay, that's great, let's work on that, let's get it right to where you can hit it 10 out of 10 times, but let's make sure that when you do it, that the crowd is waiting and itching for it, and they need it, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's something that you win a title with, you know what I mean? And then if a guy does kick out of it, it's because you guys have had an epic battle, and you know what I mean? And it makes sense for you to miss it, or the guy to kick out of it, or whatever, I mean, I mean, basically, if you can do anything you want in a match, as long as it makes sense.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a ton of ways to make a high spot match make sense, I'm not against high spot matches, I have to do them too, but my argument, what I bring to the table is, let's make it make sense,
I'm in total agreement with you, Ricky.
Totally agree as well, Rick. Now, if Big Al decides he wants to become a professional wrestler and enter Victory Pro Wrestling School,
it won't happen.
and he sees freaking Ricky Reyes across from him as he walks into the building, what should a young upstart student expect on the first day of training?
Not to get in the ring, just know that he'll be there to set it up and break it down, and I hope you can do squats and push-ups and crunches, because conditioning will be the first thing that a new guy goes through for the first 4 weeks before we even get him in the ring.
Hey Ricky, will it be those legendary Chris Benoit type squats?
Yeah, a lot of times that's what we do. We for like a brand new guy, it's difficult to just have, for us to say, hey, jump on in, join the crew, because in 3 weeks they could be gone,
Right.
So if I invest a lot of time in you right off the bat, and then you just decide, hey, my girlfriend doesn't want to let me wrestle anymore, so see you guys later, I've wasted a lot of time on you, and it's like time that could be spent on, guys that are already stars on the show,
Right.
So we still, I mean, we all, for the most part, understand wrestling is pro wrestling, but to me, it's still something you need to protect. You know, it may not be as heavenly protected as it once was in the 70s and 80s, but I still have that hey, you know, it's still like, keep it like in a mafia type of mentality where, like, you know, if you're going to be in, you're going to be in, and if you're going to go out, then there's going to be a price to pay before you leave. So,
hey, mafia, I don't know nothing about the mafia.
Keep it that way. I mean, a lot of guys want to get in VPW, like guys that wrestle with all over the place, you know, and I tell them, look, the only way Sean Booker, or owner, books you is, you know, you come down to the training a couple times.
Right.
If he likes what he sees, then he kind of invites you in. If not, you know, you can, I mean, we don't really have a use for you then, you know what I mean? Because, like, we're not, you know, we're not these other mark companies that get John Morrison and MVP and
right.
and all these big name TV guys to come in. We're drawing 300 people every show off the talent that we grew through the school, you know?
Yeah.
We don't have ticket sellers. No one sells tickets to get on our shows. We got a ton of wrestlers that show up all the time, and they just end up sitting in the crowd watching because, you know, we got our guys. You know, if you want to be one of the guys, then it's your job to show. You know, I mean, come to the training. You know, it's, you know, prove that you want to be a part of this, and go from there. You know.
Yeah. Ricky, how would somebody come to enroll in the Victory Pro Wrestling School?
Well, there's the number that's on, like, the flyer that I post and stuff like that, or if you just go to the victoryprowrestling.com, you know, and click on the school, the information's right there, like the call, and that's the owner's number. Like, I just train the school and help train the guys. Like, it's not my school. I mean, I'm the trainer there, but it's, you know, the fees and all that stuff goes through him. And, I mean, there's, again, we've had, like, in the past, I'd say 3 months, I think we've probably had eight people come for a little while and then just decide this isn't for me and then leave. And then, you know, we've had, I would say, 4 or 5 guys come and stay, you know, in the past 3 months, you know.
Right.
So it's like, you know, it's up to you, you know. I mean, it's a typical fraternity style type of thing, you know. You got to show us that you want to be there. And we don't go in there and, like, bully anybody around or anything like that. It's just like, you know, you figure out real quick who really wants to be there and who doesn't, you know, and it's open to anybody, you know what I mean? And it was the same way that we ran the New Japan dojo in LA.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I bring the same mentality there. Like, if you're going to get in this ring, you're going to train with us, you want to be a part of this, you need to prove it. And that's how we did it then, you know. It was, you know, the trainers at the New Japan dojo was like me, Samoa Joe, Rocky, Romero, and Bryan Danielson, you know. Like, we were the guys. Like, if you were going to train at that school Monday through Friday, at any one of those days on the pro wrestling training school days, then you needed to show us that that's what you wanted, you know. And we had our little ways of doing it. So not a lot of people stayed, you know, and that was their choice.
I have a quick follow-up. Who all would they be training with when they come into the Victory Pro Wrestling School?
It all depends on the skill level. If you're already a wrestler and you're looking to get better and just sharpen up on certain things, or just, you know, maybe just looking for something new, you know, a lot of times we just, during the warm-up drills and the conditioning part of the class, like the first hour or so, we can kind of gauge where you're going to be. With that being said, you could be in the beginning stages where you're on the floor, on the mats and stuff with the newer guys, working on stand-up hold-to-hold, doing conditioning like drills, you know, rolling stuff, squats and push-ups, and then if you're more advanced, then you'll more likely be in the ring with the rest of us, where we're doing, you know, we start off with like some warm-up type things, like, you know, 5 sets of like leapfrog drop-downs, you know, just kind of like standard bumping feet type stuff, you know, 2 clotheslines, shoot off, back drop, you know,
right.
drop kick out of the ring and stuff. That would be like the first hour to 2
Mm-hmm.
You know, coming from a shine into a good cutoff, you know, and then from there, pair off guys and do like 2 or 3 matches, and then collectively we discuss what was good, what was bad, and why, and then what would have made it better. And then with that, kind of rolls into the next week, because I think, oh, okay, well, you know what? Everyone's having difficulty creating a different type of comeback, so next week what we'll do is we'll break down different comebacks with, different bumping feeds and different, shift change as far as like from the heat, from the babyface taking the heat to the babyface taking over and in control of the match, so just stuff like that.
Also, I'll probably drop out of your school in the first day, because I'm not the most physically fit person in the world, Ricky. If you see a picture of me, you'd be like, who is this fat guy coming through my door?
No. We got a new guy, Sean, and he's very, very good, huge, and everything is, if you got to show up every week, we're gonna get you there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You have a body of a wrestler, Nick.
Like, I can't run the ropes. I can't bend over. I can't do that. It's like, okay, everything can be modified. You know what I mean? You're still part of the group, because this guy shows up every week, sets up the ring, he tears it down. He's at the shows doing security. You know what I mean? Like,
awesome.
He's huge. You know what I mean? So
that's very encouraging for our viewers who are inspired to be a wrestler. I definitely recommend they come to Victory Pro Wrestling School. Most definitely.
It sounds like you guys have your stuff together very tightly there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If someone would have looked at me on my first day, they would have said, oh, who's this little Mexican kid that thinks he's going to be a pro wrestler, weighs 140 pounds, get out of here.
Right.
But those guys gave me a chance, so I would never discourage anybody from their dreams, like, if you made it down to the school and have the balls to walk in there and say, this is what I want to do, none of us are going to be like, oh, look at this guy, he doesn't look like us, get out of here.
Right.
You may be kicking out the next, superstar, wrestling superstar of some kind,
Exactly.
I don't know.
Ricky, which Victory Pro Wrestling superstar has the potential of becoming a big-time mainstream superstar in the WWE, TNA, or ROH?
Well, to be honest with you, probably the one guy that probably gets it the quickest of everybody, his name is Kai Katana. He's like,
that's an awesome name.
Of like the Great Muta. And, he's, of Filipino descent, is, star amateur wrestler. He does his gimmick perfectly. It's a constant work with him, because he's so green, but the second he walks into he works all over the place now. Every weekend I'm running into him, 2 or 3 shows every week, and he's 1 year into the business.
Wow.
And if you look on the website or the Facebook, you'll see pictures of him. And I mean, this guy, if there's going to be anybody that's going to break out in the next 2 years out of there, besides like VSK, it's going to be this guy, because he's like 10 years ahead of his time, as far as like psychology wise. He gets it, you know what I mean? Like, I tell him one thing one time, and then that's it, you know what I mean? He just does it, and I've been in locker rooms with him all over the place, and everybody comes up to me like, that's your guy, and I don't like to say, that's my guy, because I try to tell people, like, I train with him, even though I do teach him.
Right.
But I train alongside him, and I tell him to tell the people, look, don't tell people that, well, Ricky's my trainer and I'm his student. Just, say that we train together, because we do, and I learn stuff from him as well, and I don't want people thinking like, oh, well, he's getting somewhere because, Ricky's over here, and that's his guy, So one thing I told him, I said, I'll never take you somewhere and wrestle you.
Right.
I'll take you somewhere if you want to get on this show and take a chance, and I'll say, hey, he's a good guy, I train with him, and then that's it. Because I'm not going to work to get you over, you know what I mean, and have other people say, well, the only reason why he's got a spot here is because Reyes put him over.
Right.
That's not how it goes. You sink or swim. I can get you there, what I
Right.
mean?
Absolutely, I completely understand that.
I have one question remaining on my sheet here. Ricky, your current thoughts on Daniel Bryan's character development in the current storyline?
From what I've seen of it, I like it. I like it a lot. You know, the world is getting to see what I've known for the past 10 years now about Bryan. What he's doing is anything that they give him, he's getting over. And, you know, he's showing his diversity in his character. People say, oh, his character development, but, like, it's just people are just taking notice to what he's doing a little bit more now because of now he's a main eventer in the WWE, so I think it's great, you know. Bryan is probably, besides Punk and probably Low-Key, I would say the hardest working guys in wrestling, you know. I could say besides myself, but, you know, like, but the thing is like, anything that they give to Bryan, he'll just take it and go, I'll get it over, you know, and then make it work. And the one thing I tell the guys I train, you know, the VCW guys, I tell them, if you believe, if you go out there through that curtain and you believe what you're doing is right 100% and you believe in it, then the people will believe it, you know. And it's difficult for some people to understand that. The only way you can understand it is by going out there off real emotion and executing something, you know. And
Right.
I tell them all the time, like, Bryan pulled off one of my favorite matches to watch on Raw is Bryan versus Ryback. And I could honestly say, I never thought I'd say, hey, I really want to watch this Ryback match, but damn it, Bryan made me say that, you know.
Good old Ryback.
Yeah, you know, so it was all Bryan. Obviously, you know, Ryback's good enough to follow that lead, but that's what Bryan's been doing for years now, you know, making guys look like they belong in the ring with him, you know. He's like a modern day Ric Flair, you know. It's like, you know, he's not at that level of, you know, being, you know, he's not the standard in the WWE yet, like a Ric Flair was in the NWA or whatever, but work-wise, the guys that lace him up and look across the ring and look at Bryan know that it's not an off night tonight, like you're going to work, you know.
Right.
And he's going to drag you along with him, and every great is that way, you know, like, you know, very few guys can really get my engines revving, but like I know that when I had to wrestle him and Joe and Low-Key, and when I look across the ring at those guys, I think, you know, I'm not nervous in the set, I'm excited because I know that we're going to take these people on a ride, you know, and that's what Bryan does every night, like, you know.
Right.
I mean, it's just, you know, same thing with Punk, like, you know, everybody was kind of crapping on Fandango because he lost some steam after WrestleMania, and then I remember Punk and Fandango on SmackDown had a phenomenal match, you know. And
Yeah, they sure did.
He really brought out that side of Fandango where Fandango was like, he was fighting to stay in that match. Like, he was fighting, you know, to keep up with Punk, and it was like, it was so good, you know,
Yeah.
it was so dramatic. And you look at the two guys and you think, you know, Punk's on this level and Fandango's down here in this mid-card level, but they looked even that night.
Right, they sure did. That was a phenomenal match on SmackDown about a month ago. Big Al?
Yeah, that's great.
I just have a quick follow-up question regarding the smaller guys, and you mentioned like Punk, Daniel Bryan, and seem a lot smaller and not as put together as some of the other guys in the WWE as far as body type wise. And it seems like in the next 10 years that's going to be the norm, and the big swollen guys like Triple H, Ryback, and John Cena are going to be more...
will sort of fade away in the next 10 to 15 years or so, because you're seeing the WWE, they're leaning more towards smaller stature guys. When you look at their developmental system at NST, where you see the wrestler formerly known as Pac, and you see El Generico coming up, they're really leaning towards the smaller guys. Would you agree with that, Ricky?
I kind of do, yes. I don't think that it's a size issue as much as it's a work issue.
Okay.
It just so happens that the smaller guys, like us, we have to work that extra mile. We have to go that extra mile for our work to make up the lack of size. You know, it's just that way. I just think that I have always known, and to this day I know that, like, when I go to WWE, you know, and you're in the back, you know, you just have this, you know, being a guy my size, I'm only 5'7", 160 pounds, so I know immediately I'm, like, frowned upon by the office, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I immediately have a chip on my shoulder thinking, no one gives two shits that I'm here, and that's fine. But when I get out of that ring,
right,
they're going to know exactly who I am. And,
absolutely.
You know, and that's the thing, is like, I don't think that they're so much picking the smaller guy as much as they have no choice but to realize these smaller guys are causing an eruption, you know, with these crowds all over the country, all over the world. You know what I mean? So we need to recognize this, you know?
Right.
So, I mean, these guys, you know, right now, during this, they're starting this transition, where it's like a transitional period where it is changing, you know? And you see guys like, you know, the guys you said, like, in developmental and stuff, like, they're about to come up and they're about to, you know, explode. And, yeah, in about 5 to 10 years,
mm-hmm,
size will no longer be an issue in the WWE. It'll all, for that time at least, it'll be about, I have to be this good to be in the WWE.
Exactly.
Where 10 years ago, it was like, I need to be this big to be in the WWE.
Yeah.
You know? And I know a lot of it, if not all of it, has to do with Triple H, because,
right,
you know, he's the one that, and how can he not? Because his best friend was considered small, but outworked everybody. So,
right,
he got to that level where he was a main eventer.
He sure did.
He was just huge and could work like that. So he had both gifts, you know what I mean? And
right,
the more I see Triple H getting on TV saying to Brian that you're too small or you don't fit the mold, the more I realize
he's being
that's
ironic.
his way of saying,
right,
this doesn't matter anymore because you're so over that you're going to make this not matter anymore. That's what they're giving to Brian. They're
right,
like, okay, here you go. Go break this mold. Do it, you know, and that's what he's doing.
absolutely.
I agree with
I
that.
think it's more. I'm going to say it's more of a skill thing. I think they are attractions, and I understand that from an entertainment aspect. When Khali walks in the building, you take notice. It's
Right.
as simple as that, you know. And you need that, and the WWE is in a position to employ that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then you look at the smaller companies, you know, like an ROH. They don't have that big giant because what are you going to do with that big giant in that locker room?
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, he has little to no use at all. So you don't employ that.
Right.
If they had the money to do that, they would. You know what I mean? So the WWE will be a mixture of a lot of different things. I just think now, to get to the top of WWE, it's going to be based more on how you get that reaction from that live crowd on a consistent basis. Not just, man, last month I had a killer match, why didn't I get a push? You know, it's like, no, this dude's been having killer matches for 6 months now. Let's give him something to do. You know?
Exactly. I totally agree, Ricky. Before we let you go, do you have any upcoming indie dates?
Yeah. This weekend I'm in the Bronx, New York for a company based out of Puerto Rico. I actually don't know the name. I've worked for them a couple times, but it's a bunch of guys I wrestled with in WWC for Carlos.
Mm-hmm.
I know Paulo and Carlitos and a couple other big names from Puerto Rico are coming in. And then on October 5th, I think, is a Saturday, it's ECWA in Delaware. Then October 18th in Queens, New York for Jack Sabbath for ICW. And then I stirred up a bunch of stuff in Jersey Championship Wrestling, so I'll be there on the 19th. And then RWE in Connecticut, I'll be there on the 26th of October.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm all over the place. And then Victory Pro Wrestling starts back up in November. We take October off.
Okay. And Ricky, if the fans want to reach you through via social media, how do they reach you?
Our Twitter at Ricky Reyes 01, and on Facebook just search Ricky Reyes, and I'm sure I'll pop up there.
Awesome, Ricky. Thank you for joining with us tonight on the Heel Turn Podcast. We definitely going to be hitting you back up in November. You can tell us what went on with your indie dates and what will go on after your Victory Pro Wrestling event. And Big Al and I are pulling for you to win the Victory Pro Wrestling Championship, buddy.
Agreed.
Thanks, man. Thanks for the support. I really do appreciate it.
No problem. Like I said, we're going to be tweeting you out when this is all over.
Thanks.
Of course, as always, Nick is a king of social media.
Thank you. All right. You have a good night, Ricky.
Yep, you take care, sir.
All right.
And we're back. Thank you, Ricky, for all that you've given me. And
that was very corny.
Yes.
And we're back. It's like we actually went somewhere. We just got done during the interview. You know.
Why are you ruining everyone's fun?
I know. You are such a wet blanket.
Okay. Hang me out to dry then. Anyway. But that was an awesome interview. Ricky gave us a lot of content into the Victory Pro Wrestling School.
I gotta say
Gave a lot of tidbits for up-and-coming wrestlers. And ladies and gentlemen, I have to say, if you're an aspiring wrestler out there, go to victoryprowrestling.com, click on their School of Wrestling, and look them up. You're going to get trained by the best in the industry in Ricky Reyes.
You're going to get your butt handed to you for the first few months if you're just starting out, but it's worth it for the quality education that they give.
Exactly. Well, Big Al, I have nothing else left to give.
You do not have a book it for this week?
No book it this week. And next week, ladies and gentlemen, get ready, because this is the end of our September series. We're gonna end the month of September having an exclusive interview with WWE Hall of Famer, the original Four Horseman, J.J. Dillon.
Can't wait for that guy.
And after the J.J. Dillon interview, probably in a couple of days after that, we will release our calendar for the month in October. And you've been following me on Twitter at Nicholas McGee, and also been following this podcast at Heel Turn Podcast. We already announced for October 7th, we will be interviewing the one and only Portland Wrestling Uncut superstar, Colt Tunes.
And former UFC stars, if I'm not mistaken.
Former MMA fighter.
I'm sorry, MMA. I put that all under one umbrella.
Yeah, former MMA fighter, Colt Tunes started out in MMA before he converted over to professional wrestling, following in his Hall of Fame father's footsteps, Roddy Piper's. I
gotta say, this dude looks intense.
Yes,
I do not want to...
Exactly. We cannot wait for that interview October 7th. October 7th. Anything else, Big Al?
I don't really have anything other than I'm sorry that I'm so distracting, Nicholas.
I know, you're very distracting tonight.
You need your meds tonight, honey.
I know.
We'll give you a spanking later.
Okay.
All right. For all of us here at the Heel Turn Podcast, I am Nick the Shopmaster McGee.
Big Al!
It's Sensational SoCy.
Have a week and get out of my ring.